Misha here, and figured it was time for another black box. Again, out of the cabin. Honestly, trying to record them in town lately has become so loud outdoors that, I don't know, it's only doing it. But yeah, let's go outside here. It's about midnight as I record it. May 1st to 2nd. And it's supposed to get more rain tonight. And I've actually been out here. This, I think, will end up being my longest cabin stay to date. This is the 15th day I've been here, and I'll be going back in a couple of days. So 16, 17, kind of getting there. To be fair, though, this is kind of the nicest time of year. And my thought was, do the swing. I want to enjoy this time of year, because before you know it, it'll be awfully hot and awfully dry. Ah, hell, I don't really need an excuse. I like being here. And the more I'm here, the more I realize that I am just losing patience with being in town. Just a lot going on, and I don't know. As I've said in previous videos, pretty much all my friends that lived in town are gone now. Yet, ironically, out here, I've started to know neighbors and some other friends from my hometown come to visit, so I'm actually more social here. And I'm kind of getting techniques worked out for, well, working, getting labels done and whatnot from here. So that was kind of the limiting factor, or the bad thing before. If I came out here, I would have to come back and have a lot of guns to ship and other packages, and kind of got that fixed, or at least temporarily. Now, I do think if I'm going to be working out here permanently more, I'm going to have to put a desktop computer. My laptop, it's a good old laptop, but laptops do not have large hard drives. Do I have external drives? Sure, but there's just no substitute for a big old chunk of terabytes on your computer. I think my desktop has about 20 or 30 terabytes, and the laptop, it has 1 on the solid state drive. Again, I've got 2, 4, or 5 terabyte external drives, and that's fine, but you still have to plug them into USB ports, and they're just not as fast, and just gets more cumbersome. Laptops are great, but if you're going to be doing a lot of video editing or storage of video files, and just generally speaking, desktop. So we'll see. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, in some ways I feel like my trip out here hasn't been all that productive, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just feel like I haven't worked as much as I should, but to be fair, half the time we've had monsoon weather. In the first few days coming out was Easter stuff. Actually, it began, I got out here on the Thursday before Easter, and that was because Jay was coming out. I don't know if anyone saw on the main Mishaco channel. We had some business to do, and he hadn't seen the cabin yet, so yeah, he headed out on Saturday, so I wanted to get out here a couple of days before he came to tidy up a bit, get settled in, because the last time I was out was the unexpected trip I talked about, where I was here 3 or 4 days. It rained crazy then too, but my wife showed up a day early. She was going to come on a Monday to get me. She was off work, and she showed up at 4 p.m. on a Sunday. So I just didn't have time to clean and, tidy up. So when I knew a few things were still dirty. But after Jay came out, my wife came out that evening, and then we did Easter with my family, and then she had to head back home Monday for work, and then I started my week out here. But between the weather, and also it was turkey hunting season, so out of consideration to my neighbors in the woods, I wasn't doing much shooting. I mean, I could have, but no reason to be a jerk of a neighbor. So it was a bit of an excuse to be lazy on the gun stuff. And yeah, kind of hung out that week and took care of some things. I did quite a few videos on bayonets and knives because, again, you know, try not to shoot. But the weather was really unpredictable. What was really frustrating was they'd say, oh, tomorrow it's going to rain, and then it wouldn't rain. Oh, it would get pushed to the next day, and then the next day. And even now it's supposed to be raining sometime through early morning and then clear off by the afternoon. So I hope so, because I still need to get one more good shooting day in. I actually made a real special case to do that video on the Springfield HS, the Kuna, and was not disappointed. I gotta tell you, Springfield, man, their naming conventions aside, which are shit, and some of their marketing, which is cringe, although to be fair, it's no worse than Arsenal. Man, they're really bringing some good guns to market. Like, you can get the basic Springfield XD, which is the American name for the HS 2000 service pistol, for under $400 brand new. That's not bad for a literal mil-spec handgun. And then there's the Hellion, worst name ever, for a really cool name, VHS2. I mean, I still think Betamax would have been a cool name too, but either way. And I thought I'm just going to call it the VHS2, 16-inch was pretty cool, and it was. But the 20-incher I picked up, what was it, about a year ago, year and a half. Not only does it have the bayonet lug and the really cool thinned barrel for cooling, and the grenade ring even, which is pretty neat of them, it actually has an updated, revised safety. Small change, but the original VHS safety was a little bit awkward. Not the worst, but the new one, I'm digging. In fact, I think next time I'm going to do a curation day, bring out the Hellion and the XD and bring back the Kuna. I had no plans to keep the Kuna. In fact, you know, like a lot of us, it kind of blindsided me. They just came out. But after how well it shot, and considering the money is not too bad on them, I don't know. I don't really need it, but with the way imports are going right now, and tariffs and not tariffs, and I don't know. So, you know, I'm going to shoot it a little more because it's kind of grown on me. I've put maybe 300 rounds through it so far. No issues at all. Kind of boringly reliable, as we say. But that's one I already did this week. And we shot some other guns that day that'll be coming up on videos. In fact, right about the time I publish this, I'll probably be putting out a retrospective on the Colt M4 carbine. I know, it's kind of boring. But, you know, I got to looking on YouTube, and there are not a lot of just historical and technical documentaries on the M4, M4A1. There are a couple of documentaries, quote unquote, that purport to talk about it, and I'll put it like this. One of them, I immediately checked out when one of the experts was talking about John Stoner's creation. John Stoner. Now, if this was just a YouTube channel like me, you know, just an individual, sure, I get it. No, this was actual published documentary, I think originally from the History Channel or Nat Geo or something. Like, you know, had a budget. John Stoner. So that's when I clicked off that. Sorry, but... and it didn't really say anything anyway. Now, Chris Bartocci does talk a lot about it. So he's one of the few people that I can get kind of technical about guns. He and I will get on the phone and talk for hours about technical stuff. In fact, it's kind of become a shorthand between my wife and I that when I will go outside with the phone and come back 2 hours later, I'll just say, yeah, it's the monthly Chris call. Because we'll get on the subject. He'll be kind of quizzing me about AK stuff or FALs, or I'll talk with him about AR stuff and Colt. But yeah, he's one. But other than him, so I just thought I'll do a video talking about the evolution, the history, some of the mechanical changes, a little bit about military service, and most interesting to me was current disposition. Did you know not only are there still like 500,000 M4A1s in inventory, but actually March 2025 there's another IDIC contract possibly lasting 5 years and for 30,000 more M4A1s. And believe it or not, it looks like it might go to Colt. 30,000 is not a large number, but you know what it is? Hell of a lot more than the Sig Sauer XM7 that are in service. Keep in mind anyway, the Marines, Air Force, and the Navy have no interest in the 6.8 cartridge or the XM7 rifle. My point is we're going to be seeing M4s for another 10, 15 years. No bones about it. Anyway, I just kind of felt like dusting off my Colt LE6921 and LE6920 US SOCOM and putting some rounds through them. And it was a fun video to do, not anything earth-shattering. Also, we're going to do a video looking at the 3 major US service handguns of the 20th century, 21st century. Of course, I'm talking about the Browning 1911A1 and the Beretta M9, and yes, the Sig Sauer M17 M18, because like it or not, with 400,000 plus in service, it ain't going anywhere. But yeah, and did more testing with the Romeo M17 optic and reliability, and I keep trying to make the thing go off, and as I said in the video when I recorded it, every time I put a bullet in that gun, the camera's rolling. So if it ever happens to me, you will you'll see it. But did quite a few videos on the bayonets. Already published the M3 fighting knife. Went ahead and did one on the M4 carbine fighting knife / bayonet. Then there's another one on the M5, M5A1, and M6 because they're very, very closely related. And then I just today recorded one on the M7. And I will probably do one on the M9 and the OKC 3S later. But I don't have those out with me at the cabin right now, so it's for next time. A few other things. I brought the Dutch FAL out. Plan on putting some rounds through it. I have the only video on YouTube about the Holland or the Netherlands, the Dutch FAL on YouTube. The only video there. And so, since that video was just me talking, I thought we'll do a shorter one, just running a few rounds through it. But don't expect a high round count because cost of 308, guys. Sorry. Do my best. What else? You know, when Jay was out, he actually picked up one of the Mini 14 GBs like I got last year. So there'll be a little video on that, why he picked one up. Let him try out the SIG MCX Spear, got his reactions. And mostly I brought out handguns. Yeah, the 3 service ones I talked about. Doing a video on the Smith 586 and 686. It will get 2 views, but that's okay. I just felt like shooting revolvers because they're fun. And, you know, a few things besides that. I guess my point is right now my focus has been a lot on the main channel and to an extent Patreon. So I just haven't had the time, frankly, for this personal channel. This is here for me to blow off steam, and it, you know, it doesn't really make money at all, you know, in the time. I'd like to get back to doing aircraft videos, but again, the time they take up is time I could spend doing professional stuff. But that will change. There will be a time when it gets too hot in the summer or too cold in the winter, Because that's me. I'm a person of kind of moods, where when I'm in the mood to talk about something, that's really what I want to talk about. That's why I would never be a good candidate for being a part of a larger YouTube channel and network. I like doing what I want to do. But, yeah, it'll come around. Yeah, as far as personal channel stuff, I think another part of it is Diecast Models have just got so bloomin' expensive. And I don't blame the importers. It's not their fault. But the days of being able to pick up a really neat one for 50 bucks are over. When all the models cost over $100, and with money not being as free-flowing, it's just hard. Now, I did order one of the new MiG 31s that's supposed to come out this summer through Hobby Master, but yeah, who knows when that'll actually get here. They've been super late and all that, but yeah. I wish models were easier to transport. One reason I've done more like action figures and stuff out here, I can easily put them in a storage box and just take them out here. It's hard to put a model in a box and bring it out. Unfortunate, but there it is. Oh well. Again, personal channel is just for me to have fun, let loose. And again, you've noticed I haven't mentioned politics once. I don't know. I'm out here at the cabin. I've got more immediate stuff in life. And I don't really have a lot to say about it, frankly. Since the election, I kind of gave my piece about how the Democrats really screwed it up. And, you know, Republicans won, and that's that. That's fine. That's what things are going to go. And either the Democrats can learn lessons or not. They don't seem to have learned many right now, so I don't know much to say. Plus, we really don't know where any of this is going right now. I've made my opinions clear, but on the other hand, I don't go hyperbole one way or the other. It's just not that critical to me. I have my own life to live. I mean, trust me, when you're disabled, when you're blind, just fixing dinner sometimes can be a bit of a challenge and things to overcome. I think part of it too is I'm happy here. I'm content. I'm at peace. So it's just kind of hard to get too worked up about that kind of stuff when you are content. And I think that's part of the whole political stuff is both sides tap into people's underlying discontent. And people know they're unhappy, they're stressed, they're overworked, underpaid. Bills are a threat every month. Absolutely. But then instead of actually looking at why this is the cause, the political sides are saying, oh no, we know it's the cause. It's either those other people, or no, it's those other people, or guess what? It's not, that's not the reason. But it tells people, hey, all your problems, they're not your fault at all. You did nothing wrong. It's these other people's, and all you have to do is this or that. And it's never, hey, it's the wealthy 1% elite. It's their fault. Ever notice that? Either Republican or Democrat. Neither side seems to point upwards. Funny that. I wonder, who has more power in the community, in a nation? Immigrants that barely have any money and barely can keep a roof over their head? Poor people who can barely get new shoes for their kids? Or people with more money than Croesus, that have jets and multiple homes and lawyers and own the companies that other people work? I wonder who might have more to do with it. And this is where it gets tricky for me, because I'm also a capitalist. I don't believe in communism. It's silly. So the problem is, where's the line between honest earning income and greed and exploitation? And the problem is, the guardrails, the guidelines, you get a whole class of people, and it doesn't matter which political party they're a part of, but there's the class of people that are essentially above the law. Anyway, and that's not me, that's not you. That's not an immigrant. But what can I do about that? What can you do about that? We have a life to live, and there's no sense giving ourselves indigestion, ulcers, nervous fits. There's no reason to get on Xanax or Zoloft or whatever they're prescribing now, because you stress yourself out over it. What you can do is take time with your friends, your family, your loved ones, because we won't have those people, or they won't have us forever. And that, to me, is what really matters. At the end of the day, when we're all breathing our last, I doubt many of us are going to lament not getting outraged more about politics, but we might lament not spending a few extra days with a family member, an uncle, or a nephew, or whatever, while we could. Now, that's, of course, understanding that if we're not in politics. Now, if we're in politics, that's a whole different thing. You know, it's funny, one thing I've heard Republicans and Democrats around me say ad nauseum, that I think most all of us, term limits for Congress. Lord, term limits for Congress. It'll never happen, because guess who passes laws? Yeah, they're never going to vote themselves out of a job, but that, again, goes to show you really who holds the power, and really who we should point at when life doesn't seem fair. But I will also give this. We have to look at ourselves. We have to examine ourselves, because none of us are blameless. We all do things that don't serve our best interest, myself included, you know. But yeah, hear the water going? It's the little creek behind me. In the summertime it'll be dried up, but with all the rain we've had, it's roaring, and it actually goes to a river down just across the road that yeah, the water's up. Luckily, knock on wood, and I hope we don't do it tonight, we haven't lost power this time. And the nights have been nice. The days have been not hot yet. I haven't had to turn on the air conditioner yet. The days have mostly been, at most, bumping 80 once or twice. But the nights, even like right now, I'm sitting out here, and it's dipping. I'm still in just a shirt and pants, so I wouldn't want to be out here in shorts. But it'll probably get into the 50s tonight, and I'm going to tell you, fresh mountain air in the morning, one of my favorite things to do out here is wake up, make a cup of coffee, the mist rolls off the mountains, the sun comes up, and just sit out on the porch and enjoy that coffee. It somehow tastes so much better. In fact, food out here, I remember that even when I was a little kid. Food out of the cabin, it always tasted better. Part of it is you usually wait till you're so hungry or you're so busy. And growing up, coming out here, while we had fireplace in the winter, we didn't have air conditioning or TV. And definitely not internet, because no one had internet. It didn't exist yet. We had a CB radio, though. That's like internet, right? No, life's not perfect. I'm still concerned about help at the business. especially getting pictures taken. That's actually ended up being one of my biggest problems, is getting a new picture taker. Of course, gun sales aren't fantastic this year. There's always bills that need paying, things that need doing. But compared to where I was at 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's better. 2021, with COVID and all that, 2020 was a good time in the gun business. It was. And I don't have any regrets from that. But somehow 2022 and onward, I just kind of felt not rudderless, not aimless, but kind of and now what? Or what about the rest of my life type deal? And then, yeah, as friends moved away, I felt lonely. I wasn't getting out and socializing anymore. And of course, part of it too was post-COVID, a lot of stores closed or had more restrictive hours. And of course, you can go online now and buy so much, which is convenient. But I did miss kind of getting out, going places. But with everyone working so much, yeah, I guess I just felt guilty about asking to go somewhere because everyone was so overworked and tired. So I'm afraid if I hadn't done the cabin thing, I would effectively be a shut-in right now. Did the cabin pretty much take all my savings? Am I still paying off some things like furniture? Yeah. But when I look at the alternative timeline where I didn't do this, it feels bleak. It really does. And I've been there in my life before. There was one time really in particular, there was extended time in my life where I didn't know where to go. I felt kind of trapped because there were no opportunities. It was after I got out of college. And I definitely never want to go back to that feeling, that aimless, listless pointlessness in life. And it kind of lasted for me about 2 years, and that was a rough 2 years. And in some ways, I don't rightly know how I made it through there. Really don't. So I took a chance. Nothing was perfect, you know. There were setbacks, there were shortcomings. But I'm also grateful. And another thing, and I think I've shared this on a Blackbox before, but you know, I lived alone for over 10 years before meeting and marrying my wife. I think a part of me was kind of wondering, could I do that again? Could I cook and clean and take care of myself? Part of me looked back at how I lived alone in college and was wistful for that, not because I wanted to be a bachelor again exactly, but I wanted to make sure I still had the ability, again as a disabled person, to take care of myself on my own, that I hadn't lost those skills. And so coming out here, being able to live on my own, of course friends and family stop by, bring me lunch occasionally or take me places, sure, I mean that's, you gotta give credit there, but I can take care of myself, and that makes me feel, that restores some confidence that I kind of felt like I might be missing, if that makes sense. But beyond that, I was a little scared that I could build this, get out here, and realize it wasn't for me. I wasn't sure really how I would do this because it's new. But I've been coming out for over a year now. I talked about in one of the more recent black boxes that I was pretty much the anniversary of my first night out here. And it's not wearing off. Like that new feeling, you know, is kind of over. The honeymoon period, I guess you say, is over. But I still enjoy coming out here. I still have things to do. And I still find peace, satisfaction, happiness. I still look forward to my trips out here. And I'm able to work out here too. It's not like I'm out here just flipping off the world and being a lazy sack. I don't think I could live with myself if I did that either. I need to feel like my days are productive. I've got that drive in me. It's kind of a family trait to do something, to go somewhere. But I do try to take a night here and there to have fun, to relax. I don't get to do it as often as I would like, but I do get to do it. So no complaints. Yeah, I do have a little bit of that feeling now about, okay, now what? The cabin's done. Where do I go from here? But not in a bad way. Still, I don't know. I'm also aware that life can throw a big wrench in our plans. Bad things can happen, and they will happen, they do happen. You know, they say ignorance is bliss, but life is up and down. But I hope I'm allowed a little time just to be at peace before the next big upheaval. I really am. I need that because part of me is still recovering. Part of me is still resting, needing that right now. But, you know, life really doesn't have a plan, frankly. And that is what is truly terrifying if we face that fact, is no one knows tomorrow, and there's no benevolent, all-knowing, wise person at the helm of our country, our world, making sure things go. No, we're all basically children, acting like we're adults, acting like we know what we're doing, and trying to help each other out. And that's all we can do, is help each other out. And take what comes as it comes. It's just the way of the world. Again, back to what I said a minute ago, enjoying time with friends and family and loved ones, because that's all we have. That's what matters. It will be over sooner than we'd probably like. And I'm not going to say I've had the hardest life in the world. I haven't. But I haven't had the easiest. And if I can find some kind of peace, some kind of purpose in some way, there's really hope for anyone, frankly. You know, I was talking with my mother. She came to get me to take Miss Peanut to the vet for a checkup when I got out here the day after Easter, actually, that Monday. And I don't think about him all the time, but when I was in kindergarten, one of my first, best friends I met in kindergarten, and he came over to my house. I would go over to his, and we spent a lot of time together when we were in elementary school. And actually his dad was a police officer, and like I said, they were police on my family too, including my brother. So, you know, good, honest, hard-working family. He was the good kind of cop, the kind that helped his community. Unfortunately, my friend's mother got cancer when he was still young and didn't make it. And unfortunately, he killed himself a long time ago now. And even worse, his younger brother killed himself, leaving just their sister and their dad. And I can't even imagine the strength that man has had to keep on going, losing his wife and his 2 boys. I can't even. But on the other hand, I was talking to my mother and I was saying, time to time I wonder what my friend would think about the cabin or going shooting or whatever if he were still around. I don't hate him for doing what he did. I understand losing your mother, but I don't know. I still miss him. And you know, if there's something after death or whatever, I hope somewhere along that way he knows he's not forgotten for whatever it matters, whatever it's worth. I actually lost 2 or 3 other people to suicide when I was growing up, junior high, high school. He was probably the closest, but there were others. That's life, though. I understand. I don't hate them. I don't look down on people for doing that. I wish they could have found a way to keep going on, because the old saying of it's always darkest before the dawn, to my mind, holds true. The times in my life when it really seemed hopeless, and it kept seeming hopeless for days, weeks, months, even years, this would be followed by just ridiculously good luck, or at least better luck. And if I hadn't hung on, I never would have seen that. So these days when things get really bad, I remind myself of that. But gotta take it as it comes. I don't rightly know what else can be done. But I have been putting a lot more effort into the main Mishaco channel. Now I'd like to go ahead and get to 100,000 just to say I did it. And it's just me these days. There's, I mean, I have people that show up on camera that I say, hey, shoot this gun, let me know what you think. But all the video editing, all the back end stuff, for better or worse, and I'm perfectly aware of my shortcomings. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. I'm not deluded. That's all me, guys. There isn't anyone that helps me. The one thing I really wish I could find some help with, thumbnails. There's just no way I could ever do a thumbnail. Other stuff I can find workarounds to, but that's just one of those things. Just like I was saying earlier about taking pictures of my inventory. No matter what I do, I'll never be able to take photos. Ironically, it's easier for me to do a video than it is to take a photo. So, yeah, kind of funny how that works, huh? But, yeah, it's been a good stay. Like I said, I've been out here just over 2 weeks now. And I gotta be honest, I'm not really ready to go back. Although there is a part of me that's kind of ready to go back, I guess. You know, get back to the other. And there's also the part of me that recognizes absolutely that if I just lived out here all the time, it would lose its specialness. I still would probably like it. Still would probably enjoy it. But I know myself. It's a nice cabin, but it's a little too small to live in all the time. I don't have enough space for all my guns, all my models. You know, it has to be balanced, as everything. And to be fair, when I get back in town, generally speaking, I'm content there too. In fact, sometimes when I'm planning to come out here, I'll think about the work I have to do and, you know, packing up to get out here and everything. And I'll think, but then as soon as I get out here, it's all worth it. But when I'm here and my time draws to an end, I'm never really ready to go. Oh well. But who's definitely not ready to go is Miss Peanut. She flipping loves coming out here now, and it's easy enough to get her in her cat carrier when we're coming out here. But when we have to leave, we have a game where she will run and hide under various furniture, and then after I will kind of chase her around a bit, she'll eventually just dive under my covers in my bed and just basically look at me like this, resigned, like, no, she likes being here, which is good. Again, after we lost Oscar a couple of years ago, she got a little gloomy, and then just losing Hobo in February, she got depressed, so she seems a lot happier. She even got where she wouldn't eat her favorite food in town because I'd always split a can between her and Hobo. And without Hobo there to kind of eat with her, that she just quit eating and whatnot. But she is back to eating now, so that's good. That's another thing. I always kind of felt bad about leaving my old cat, a Hobo, up there. Yeah, she was too old to travel, and she just didn't like car rides. But I always did kind of feel guilty about leaving her. But with her gone now, that's, I guess, one less string. Again, for good or ill, it's one less string that kind of ties me to it. I don't know. I don't know where this is heading. I don't know what's the outcome here. I'm trying to be realistic about stuff. I have to just kind of wait and see. Oh, one thing I think I've realized, because my windows have been open the whole time and the pollen's been up, you know, pine trees around me and stuff. I think my cat has seasonal allergies. She's been sneezing a bit, but it's not like a cat cough. You know how cats get, and she doesn't, her ears aren't hot. She's not running a fever. She's eating, drinking as normal, but she'll kind of go to groom herself a bit. And after she cleans her fur, which has some pollen on it, she'll kind of get, I can hear the little bit of a stuffy nose and then a couple of cat sneezes. Although today she seems to be better, but keep an eye on it. Like I said, she was just at the vet a week ago and everything was good, so not worried about that. But yeah, that'd be my luck to get the cat with the seasonal allergies, because this is her first spring out here. I didn't start bringing her out here until we had water, and it was kind of late summer when she first started coming out. What, August, I think, September. So yeah, this is her first season, but I couldn't really bring her out when I didn't have full facilities. But yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to rain here. I will say that the neighbor that my brother introduced me to, neighbor, I'd say kid, he's actually 18, so young man, has been helping out, and that's been working out well. He's been helping me record, and then I had him help out doing gun logouts this past week for the first time, and that went easy enough. And he hasn't driven me anywhere yet, but he does have a driver's license and vehicle. So if that keeps on, then we might do that. That's one thing I do need to do, is be able to go up back to my house in town to pick up packages, ship things sometimes. But I'm working on it. Yep, the bugs are starting to come out. Ah, it's so nice here. Yep. it's hard to worry too much about faraway problems such as politics when you at least get a place to hear yourself think again. And I always have been a bit of a loner, I guess you'd say. I really am fine with my own company. I also like having friends over too, but yep. I do. Oh, I got my screen doors too. I just need to get time to put them in if it ever will quit raining enough. But I'm going to head in and hit the bed. I think I've got company coming in the morning. And then my wife will be out tomorrow evening for the weekend, and then we'll head back in. But yeah, just wanted to do a little update. Again, nothing hugely important happening, but you know, it was a good stay. Got through Easter and whatnot. And probably be out pretty quick. Again, while the weather's nice. I've got quite a few guns that need shooting. Plus, kind of hungry. I think I'll find myself something to eat in the fridge. With that, this is Misha. Hope everyone's having a good start to their May. And Peanut and I will catch you very soon next time.